well, what if I want to go there because I want to learn so that I can refute their heresy and their error, all that. So what are your thoughts on that objection? That's why I want to go. I want to go there for that reason. And this is what Bishop Hay says to this. He says the case is the same. He says the case is the same if you attending the churches of heretics to hear where their sermons are going to be preached and so on. He says the case is the same as to the danger with that of reading bad books with the design of refuting them. So it's no different than reading bad books, because there's always that susceptibleness to being seduced by the bad books, which is the reason why the Catholic Church used to have the index of forbidden books. They would forbid you to read these books. Like, don't read these books because you may be seduced from the truth. Now they don't care, I guess. But so he says to read bad books is forbidden. To read bad books is forbidden by the law of nature and by the law of God, as well as by the positive law of the church, which precisely upon account of the danger of being seduced by them to evil. What is the evil? The evil is believing their heresy. So he says reading these bad books is against natural law, against God's law, and against the church law. And Bishop Hay equates going there to these false churches with the same danger as reading bad books, because you're putting your mind open to the error. Now then Bishop Hay says this. He says, now suppose a person be thoroughly learned. Okay, so he's thoroughly learned and in no probable danger of being seduced by them. Yet, he says, this person, he cannot read them with a safe conscience, unless he has also received permission from his spiritual superiors to do so, even though with the design of confuting them. So Bishop Hay says that these particular individuals, I'm assuming he's referring to priests or so forth, that they shouldn't read those books unless they get the permission from their superiors to do so, even if they're desiring with the good intention of refuting the heretic. He says if he reads them without such permission, he runs the risk of being hurt by them, notwithstanding his learning, in punishment of his disobedience to what the law of God requires him. He says if he does so on his own authority, if he does so without the permission of his superiors, he opens himself to God punishing him by withdrawing his grace of faith from him, basically. Because keep in mind, the faith we have is a gift of God. We don't want to play with that. All right? So, he says, but if he has such permission, if he does have the permission of his superiors, and reads with the intention of refuting their error, he may then do so lawfully. So it may be possible to do so lawfully. And he has every hope. It says that God will preserve him from the danger of being seduced. Right. So that's in regards to reading their books. Okay? That's in regards to reading their books. But in regards, Bishop Hay goes on to say, but in regards to going to their houses of worship in order to hear their sermons and to see what's going on in order to refute them, that's a different matter. There, Bishop Hay says that the scandal that can be brought, all the different the reasons why one should not attend or be present there, have to all be taken into account and made sure that those things are not present in order for this to happen. So he says, says here that in like manner, if a learned person, by permission of his lawful superiors, should go to the meetings, by permission, go to the meetings of those of false religion, precisely to learn their way and doctrine, that he may be able to better confute it, this will take away the sin. Okay, this will take away the sin as to one point of exposing himself to the danger. One point. It says, but then even this will not excuse the other evils of his doing so, namely, it being an apparent communication with false religions. Being apparent, like people might get confused that why is he there? They might get the wrong idea. Why is he at this house of work? Does he accept them? Like what's going on here? The apparent communication of false religion, a seeming approbation of it, a seeming approval of this religion. Like, hey, maybe does he approve of this false church? This is the talk among the faithful. They see this leader there. Like, what is he doing? It says, and a source of offense and scandal to the faithful. Why would it be a source of offense and scandal to the faithful? Because they know it's a sin. At least they used to. So the faithful are like, what is he doing there? Like, I'd be scandalized and faithful. I saw a traditional bishop at the house of a heretic, and I'm like, what the heck's going on with it? Why is the bishop there? It says, and bulk of whom hearing of his doing so, and not knowing either the permission he has got or the intention of which he goes, cannot fail to be greatly offended and scandalized by it. So even if you've got permission to go, if you got permission to go from his superiors to be present there, it must be it would have to be widely known and publicized that he's there not for any reason to approve of this false religion, to communicate with this false religion, but it's simply there to refute it. It would have to be known that way. And the people the faithful, the lay it should be known to them, made known to them so clearly that that's why he's going. So there's no scandal that the faithful get deceived and thinking that, oh, maybe it's okay to go there, or what's going on, or who knows what scandal and deception might happen. So they have to be very careful to guard that. It says, so that except in such circumstances where all these evils could also be prevented, such permission could not be granted, and though granted would not. It says, though granted would not, I fear, give him full security before the tribunal of God, especially when it is considered that there seldom or ever can be a necessary for granting such permission, since the tenets and doctrines of all false religions can easily be known by their books, okay, or from the relations with others. And so you can, it says, it can be there's no reason really to go to those places because you can read their books and find out about it. There's no reason to be there. And because being there, there's so many things you have to guard so that there's no scandal there. Right? So it says, or from the relation of others without doing a thing so detrimental to the honor of the true religion. So there's ways of finding out about the truth. There's ways of finding out about these religions without having to actually go there and sit at their services and hear their, and preach a scandal. So it says, there's ways of doing, there's other ways around it. So there's almost no reason to ever be there. Basically, he says, it's so obnoxious in the eyes of all pious members of the church. This action is so obnoxious in the eyes of all pious in the church. Well, not anymore. Okay. This is what's going on. So this is how Bishop Hay concludes his article by refuting these objections.